Hello and welcome back to Grassroots Crypto, where I like to teach people about crypto. And in this video, we're going to be talking about THORChain, about multi-chain Chaosnet update and what to expect when it gets released. This is what we're going to be covering in this video, and I've tried to get all the information, put it together in one spot. As much as I know right now, and as a bit of a disclaimer, I guess it's subject to change. But this is, at the moment, everything I can find and has had validated with the team on the dev channel. Right, so there's a bit to get through, so let's get started. First, Native Rune. Rune is the native asset for THORChain, but it doesn't run natively. It runs on, it's a BEP2 asset, runs on Binance Chain. So this will be moving over to THORChain's blockchain. As Lena has said, there will not be a bridge for BNB Rune to Native Rune or Ethereum Rune to Native Rune. The protocol supports upgrades on each chain, e.g. BNB Rune simply sent a memo to switch. So there will be a process, and I'll show you in a minute. So why are we going to do this? A couple of good reasons. One is, well, that's where it belongs. Two is that it's going to have a lot less bloat because Bifrost needs to observe all the on-chain movements for external chains, and because Rune's on an external chain, being Binance Chain, it needs to observe that's a lot of double handling, it's a lot of bloat for the network. So this is really going to simplify THORChain dramatically because Rune is going to be on natively on its own blockchain. Also increases chain sovereignty, so you're not going to be at the mercy of what Binance wanted to do, or put out a fork that had an effect on the network as well. You're going to have more validators. It's going up to like 99 nodes and stuff like that instead of what Binance has. So you have a lot more control over the blockchain, since with Cosmos SDK you build the blockchain and use Tendermint underneath to handle all of the things you don't necessarily want to be dealing with or worrying about. So you can read about sovereignty here and some of the benefits there, and actually go further down and talk about how that works with IBC. So lots of really good reasons for that. It also will pave the way for THORFi and doing a lot more fancy things in the future. So it is a fundamental step of moving or expanding THORChain for the future. So what's going to happen with the Rune Bridge? The Rune Bridge will be wound up a little before MultiChain Chaosnet, so it will no longer be supported. So that's the Rune Bridge here. So if you've got Rune out there, you might want to switch it back or decide to keep it there, but support for the Rune Bridge will not be around forever, and will be shut down sometime just before MultiChain Chaosnet launch. So what about, we'll go back to the right one. What about your BEP2 Rune? So support for that will be ongoing. That's not going to be, unsupported. So there's no expiry on BEP2 Rune. It will continue to be supported, but I would encourage people to upgrade. I'm not sure if there's actually any active incentives that are going to be provided. However, the indirect incentives like cheaper network fees, because if you're paying Rune, you're going to be paying a little bit cheaper than if you're paying a BNB for your network fee. It's going to be more efficient and stuff like that. So I guess there will be some indirect incentives. So people might be asking, how do you upgrade? Good question. So within AsgrardEx, you might have seen my previous video on this. There will be an upgrade feature. So if you've got BNB Rune here, then you can just do upgrade, and I'll upgrade to 1,000. Upgrade. You're going to put your wallet password in. Wait a little bit, and then that will convert your upgrade. There is a BNB fee because there's a BNB on-chain transaction. However, once you go back, we'll go back to my wallet. All right, so that doesn't appear to have updated, but then again, they're going to Ragnarok testnet, so I don't know how much is actually working, but I'll get to all that in a minute. But that's the process, and I did that actually last night, so I know it works. Supported wallets. So I just showed you that the AsgrardEx wallet will be obviously supporting Rune. So it's just like what wallets will support Native Rune. You'll have the AsgrardEx. That's going to be the official one created by the team, which is what I just showed you. And as you can see, I upgraded this just after I created a screenshot. So it definitely does work. And that will be the official supported way. What other wallets will be supported? So officially, there are no confirmed wallets which will support Native Rune, apart from AsgardEx. So the team will work with major wallets to integrate, and confidence is high. So you could, strategic investors of THORChain will likely support the team, and THORChain is approaching all the major vendors for support. I hear that there are some other wallets, like Math Wallet, that would very likely be there as well. And in my humble opinion, I'd put money on something like, this is just my opinion, and I don't know, but things like bigger ones like Trust Wallet and perhaps maybe even Ledger will come to the party either at launch or at some point. Look, as THORChain gets bigger, more vendors will come to the party and get on board if they don't come out already. Because, if you build it, they will come and support it. I believe, so the AsgrardEx is actually a web-based browser. So it's just web. You can go Control-Shift-I, you can see web tools there and stuff like that. So this will be available, like some people talking about putting it into a Chrome extension. It'll go on the DeFiX browser possibly. I mean, anything that uses a Web3 provider will be able to integrate into this. So lots of options. Everything's open source as well, so you could probably even make your own wallet if you're really keen. So this step, so Native Rune and wallet support, will pave the way for THORChain synthetics and so things like synthetic BTC and other tokens that can live on the THORChain blockchain. While it may not seem as a big deal now, it is a critical fundamental step for THORChain. So understand that there needs to be a native token to support some wallets for this. So it is kind of a big deal, and it's really good to see THORChain coming out with their own. So this, along with Cosmos's IBC, so the Stargate, will allow a new Cosmos ecosystem to start up, e.g. allowing THORChain to talk and move value to other Cosmos blockchains. Who knows what's possible? It's a whole new world. It's like seeing the Ethereum DeFi or F5 be possible for the first time, except this time it will be not confined to a blockchain like the Ethereum DeFi is. So it's a very important first step, and it's an exciting time. So multi-chain pools and swaps. So currently in BEPSwap, everything lives on BEP2. BEP2 assets, so the Binance chain. In MultiChain Chaosnet, we'll do away with just putting everything on one chain, and we'll be doing things in native assets instead of just necessarily wrapped assets. So see my video on chains and tokens for more information on that. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on will be added to our MultiChain Chaosnet and allow people to change from native Bitcoin to native Ethereum, as an example, and using Rune as a settlement asset. So these will be the supported chains here. So we've got Binance Chain, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Obviously, Binance Chain is already supported in single chain Chaosnet, hence the name single chain. So there'll be 4 more added in the initial release, and there's more to come. So as stated, assets and pools will vary depending on the demand. So this is like, will BTCB pool be supported? And it really depends. That one probably will be. So the pools will be different as to what you see in BEPSwap, and it's hard to say, these are the actual pools and assets that are going to be supported. It's going to be dependent on the market and the user demand about what pools they want to see, and what pools that really perhaps don't have value that are currently inside of BEPSwap. I just want to talk a little bit also about liquidity pools and their impacts. So liquidity providers will be able to use their native Bitcoin or other assets to pair with Rune to be a liquidity provider, and they either symmetrically or they can even provide asymmetrically, e.g. with Bitcoin using a cold card. That's the idea. And from Lena, yes, you can add liquidity asymmetrically. However, when you do this, you do not have a single asset exposure. You own a percentage of the pool. Therefore, you have redemption rights on those assets. So just to break that down a bit, when you provide liquidity asymmetrically, half of that will be swapped for Rune, and then that will be put into the pool. You'll pay the slip, and then when you come out, you'll pay the slip as well. So you are exposed to both assets, not just to native Bitcoin if you provide to a native Bitcoin pool in MultiChain Chaosnet. The fundamentals of liquidity pools do not change, so it's still a continuous liquidity pool with a slip-based fee and still subject to impermanent loss. So none of that changes. Liquidity units, So I've confirmed there will be non-transferable liquidity units, and this is to do with impermanent loss protection. Additionally, there's going to be required confirmation counts for deposits as well as swaps. I do detail that specifically in my security video on the wait times, but there will obviously some provisions. If you're going to add like 1 BTC, it's going to take 10 minutes. If you're adding 50 BTC, it's going to take an hour and 20 minutes, I think, because that's 8 confirmations. But if you add over 1,000 BTC, like you swapping that or adding that, you're going to have to wait over 24 hours because that's 160 from memory confirmations, or taking 26.6 hours. So same with Ethereum. See the formula inside of my security video, and then you'll get a much better understanding of the wait time for depositing liquidity and then getting, being attributed liquidity units, as well as wait times for swaps when you're doing like a larger amount of asset within THORChain. Asgard sharding and node limit increases. So I talked about this in my security video. That's hopefully released by the time you see this. Currently, there is one primary vault called the Asgard vault, which is a TSS vault, or threshold signature scheme vault. See my security videos for an understanding there. TSS is the security for the vault. TSS is a very new technology. So there's like limits on how many nodes you can have within a key sign and a key sign party that'll do it. Hence there's a 36 node limit. So Asgard sharding will allow multiple primary Asgard vaults to exist. Each with their own key gen and signing party. So this will allow the node limit to increase without sacrificing speed or security of the network. So they'll spawn and unspawn. It really kind of depends on, if there's 60 nodes, there'll probably be 2. If there's 90, there'll be 3. And if nodes drop off, it'll collapse down. So expand and contract the amount depending on the nodes, and it should all be automatic. So this will allow the network to get to the 99 nodes, the target nodes, even beyond, which at the moment it currently cannot get to. So this is it here. So normally when you go put funds into BEPSwap, it goes in the Asgard vault and it has its own TSS kind of party with its own nodes. So essentially this will scale. So you'll have multiple vaults, and then it will be kind of like load balanced. And depending on how many nodes there are, will depend on how many Asgard vaults there are. Impermanent loss protection. So there will be impermanent loss protection for positions over 100 days. I'm not really going to go through too much. If you go to the dev update 82, which all the links will be in the description, you can read all about it here. And I think there is the full spec. You can go about and read all the specifics and get all your answers there. The more you provide liquidity, the less this is potentially going to be required. But I think it's more of a comfort thing. It's really good, obviously, marketing as well. So how much is that actually going to be needed? Time will tell. So it's good to know that that's there. So that way you're at least not worse off being a liquidity provider as opposed to being just holding the 2 assets over 100 days. Next is AsgrardEx, which we just showed you a little bit before. I just showed you a little bit before. So here it is. Looks very much like BEPSwap, except it's going to have these are all native. This is native Bitcoin, native Ethereum, native Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and all that type of stuff. I don't think there are any pending pools. Oh, there are pending pools. Lovely. And then this is very new, this particular release. So then you have your wallet. You can have a look at your pool shares. This is just like BEPSwap. This is really good for Thor, so you can bond. And I think if you click on a wallet, you can get a bit more information here. So look, it's really cool. Check out my video where I run through this before, but this really is designed to be a one-stop shop wallet for everything now, because it's going to be supporting all the multiple different addresses, or at least the five chains up front. So this should give you everything you need. So where to see it? I have a link here. You can go to GitHub, AsgrardEx, to have a look, pull it out yourself and run it. I'm sure this will be provided somehow to everybody. And the one I'm currently running is 007. It's about 4 days ago. The video I did, I think, was 005. So this is a bit of a later one here. Right, dashboard updates. Main points out of this is Midgard, which is what allows the information to get out to the dashboards. See my previous videos where I explain it a lot better than I just did. All of these dashboards will be updated to allow for multi-chain Chaosnet. So it's your rune stake info, your dashboards here. This is one's a really good one. All of this type stuff, dashboards, view blocks, all this will have to be updated to allow for the multi-chain Chaosnet, because it's like a whole different bag. So that's Midgard version 2. Well, all these dashboards will suck information from Midgard in order to give this type of data. So big updates for these dashboards coming. Right, multi-chain Chaosnet status. When's it going to be released? What's taking so long? So multi-chain Chaosnet is finding a lot of issues. I understand every issue they have can be fixed. So there are no road blockers to the release of multi-chain Chaosnet. It just takes time. It's like literally imminent. So understand that THORChain needs to account for every piece of asset, like every sat, every weight, everything, every cent, so to speak. It needs to be accurate and exact every time, on every occasion, on every connected chain. This has never been done before, so it's not like, oh, we can put this to some comparison. So there can be no, as I said like before, there can be no fudging of numbers, sleight of hand, rounding up, or anything like that. THORChain needs to be 100% solvent all of the time. Once it is proven in every case to be 100% solvent every time and track every cent, so to speak, it can launch. I don't know when, as in the date, except to say that when it is ready to be used with real funds, it will be deployed. And here are 3 recent issues. Ethereum reorgs all the time because it's so fast, so you don't know which is the parent block until a few blocks in. So Bifrost had to account for that. Now Bifrost has been updated in order to understand the reorgs, continuing reorgs within Ethereum. But you know, until that broke multi-chain testnet, until that was fixed. USDT uses you could say different decimal places. It's not right in saying that, but basically there are like 8 zeros at the end of Rune. So this is the 1E8 format. USDT uses the 1E6 format. So what was happening was, so it uses like that. When USDT was being passed around, obviously that lives on the Ethereum blockchain. THORChain thought because two zeros were missing at the end, or 2 numbers were missing at the end specifically, THORChain thought that nodes were stealing funds and decided to slash everybody that was using USDT. So, you know, little things, something really little. Now every asset has to be padded to 1E8 format, or otherwise it will not work. And the last one was, ordering of UTXOs when they submit them to Bifrost, because that way you can, you know, if you've got 15 UTXOs, and I think this one was, they batched them out in like 9 in one transaction, 6 in the other, and they were ordering them how they wanted to, or they have to be in a specific order because messages need to be the same to get consensus. So that kind of broke everything. So that's been fixed, and that's just 3 examples of little issues that are coming through that the team has to fix. You know, and that's just what's taken time. You look at the dev updates, there's always, you know, all the little fixes coming out. Now, I think we're at version 30. So that's why it's taking so long. Well, not so long, but that's why it's just still not ready, because everything has to be 100% correct for it to be released with real funds. Next is the transition plan to multi-chain Chaosnet. So how we move from single chain to multi-chain, and will single chain be Ragnaroked? So the answer is yes, and I'm going to quote, but multi-chain Chaosnet and single chain Chaosnet will coexist initially. Multi-chain Chaosnet will be stabilized and the network will have liquidity caps initially. So that's exactly what happened with BEPSwap when it was first released last year. Once comfortable, the incentives will be dialed up on multi-chain and reduced on single chain to encourage liquidity to shift. So eventually single chain will be Ragnaroked, which is going to be prior to mainnet, which is Chaosnet with no limits, constraints, or overrides or stuff like that. And then, you know, single chain Chaosnet will no longer exist. Just quickly, the constraints I talked about are these constraints here. So they're obviously currently in place for Chaosnet. Mainnet, they'll disappear, but that'll take some time. Go back to this one. So yes, you'll need to then transition your assets from single chain Chaosnet over to multi-chain Chaosnet. And the reason why this transition process is is basically because multi-chain Chaosnet may fail, will probably have bugs, probably have issues. There will be some stabilization when it is used with real funds to ensure that it's working properly. And if you're around when BEPSwap launched, it's the same thing. So there will be a bit of a stabilization going slowly before single chain Chaosnet is completely turned off and multi-chain Chaosnet becomes the primary deal for THORChain. So when will it be launched? So the latest update that I've got here that came out last night. So 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is the only official, I guess, timing that can be said in this video. This is from Dev Update 84. So this is going to be the first release of multi-chain Chaosnet, as I've detailed here, and it'll pave the way for more chains to be added, as well as THORFi, which we'll cover in another video. So this is a status of the chains and what's to come in the future. So this is a massive step, and what THORChain was always intended to be. It's very new, so this THORChain, this stuff hasn't been done before, not that I know of, a cross-chain automated market maker. So it's kind of a big deal just for THORChain as well as crypto in general. So this combined with Stargate IBC opens up almost an unlimited amount of opportunities for THORChain and crypto into the future. So thanks for watching. That's it. That's all I know. I've tried to put as much as I can into this video. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to see more content like this and keep up to date with THORChain. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below or reach out to the THORChain community. I would join and keep your eyes on the THORChain announcement channel, perhaps over the next few weeks to keep up to date. The last thing I'll do is, and reading the tea leaves here, is show Telegram, and this came out this morning. So they're going to be Ragnaroking multi-chain testnet. This will hopefully be the last reset for multi-chain testnet in order to do stabilization in testnet to prove and test whether or not it is ready for Chaosnet launch. So I think it's very close. If the THORNode announcements channel goes quiet and the dev channel goes quiet, I think that's probably a good sign that that the release is going to be very close. So that's it. Hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe, and until next time, thanks. Bye.